Okay, so this is now recording. I've never done a recorded Zoom call before, so this is pretty cool. So I'm calling this shop talk, right? Because back when you're just like hanging out in the shop and you're just like talking about whatever comes up. And Clara's inside sleeping, so I'm doing this out of my patio. I'm getting a little shelf set up in the back. I actually finished my workout today with those weights. When I married Dale, I was actually asking him if I could throw them out when we moved to this house. He's like, no, I'm going to use them. And I was like, I'm never going to use them. Are you going to use them? He's like, yeah. Well, turns out I'm finally breaking in the weights at our new house. But so something I talked about in the with the crew in the app today was, and something that it always comes back to, right, is our basics. So we're always like, I've got this one girl, she was asking me if there is one of the questions was, is there like a pill that I can take that can like boost my metabolism, right? Yes, there are pills that can boost things if all of your other things are in place. For example, the foundational things, right? So are you feeding your body all of the nutrients it needs, okay? And has it hit a plateau? Then yes, there are certain things that you can take to leverage to leverage results, right? Or to kind of get more out of your, to leverage results, meaning are you going to get more energy from fat cells or from carbohydrates that you eat or fat that you're eating or stored fat cells, right? And so, but these supplements only work, right, if you're hitting all these other criterias. For example, people that like, oh, okay, I'm going to try this pill. I'm going to try this pill. I'm going to try this supplement. Oh, it doesn't work. It didn't work, and yes, that will add to a lot of frustration, right? I mean, I've been there myself. Like there were so many times when I wanted to get toned and lose fat. Guys, I can't tell you how many different caffeine pills I tried, to speed up my metabolism, right? But so the best thing you can do to speed up your metabolism is by making sure you're hitting your protein every day and your calories, right? A person that eats a lot, like a heavier set person, by nature, they will then have a higher metabolism. And this is because their body has to burn through more fuel, right? The more fuel you put on a fire, the more you're going to, increase that campfire. And so another question that I got was, okay, so if you're, for example, if you have high levels of inflammation in your body's not going to give you the results you want. And it could take up to maybe 3-4 months even to start seeing results, depending on how much under the surface repair work has to happen, right? Because a body that gives results, let me see, one of my clients just texted me. She's asking me how many, okay, so this is a good question. How many, she's asking me how many teaspoons of omega should she give her daughter that's 2 years old, and then her other baby, that's her other daughter that's 4 months old, right? And so of course you always go off of their weight. But since, Madeline and Clara are always growing, I always give them a little bit more. And you can always have more, you just can't have too little. I'm actually going to invite her to jump on the Zoom. Jump on if you can, and I'll talk about it on my shop talk with you now. Okay, let's see if Desiree jumps on. Okay, so maybe she jumped on right now. I'm not sure. I will wait with answering that question when if she can jump on. She's answering me right now. When you have those little bubbles pop up? It's like, oh, I wonder what she's saying. But it's okay. A lot of people, I have a few of you are insulin resistant, right? And one marker that tells you if you are insulin resistant is if you are doing all the things you should, right? And you are not losing any weight at all, right? And so one thing that okay, it is recorded, so you can check it out. So in response to her question regarding, and this goes into it being insulin resistant as well. And this is why you can always take more omega-3 than you're supposed to, you just can't take less, okay? So we have acute inflammation that happens when we work out, right? Or just through anything in life, we sprain our ankle, or we eat food that has food coloring in it, or we're eating processed food, right? Everything adds stress and inflammation to our body, right? And that's how we age, is just by environmental factors, right? It happens to, like steel, it rusts, right? Houses age, our bodies age from environmental factors. And so everything combined does add to inflammation. And so especially if we're adding exercise on top of that, that is tearing down, that's breaking muscle fiber tears, which is causing more inflammation to our body, more stress, right? And so over time, that inflammation increases and increases and increases. So depending on how much inflammation you have in your body, in your system, right, that hasn't been maintained by healthy fats and stuff like that, and or a supplement, right? And I'm not talking about flaxseed, right? You can't take a flaxseed omega and or a flaxseed oil thinking it's doing its job of an omega. It's two separate things, okay? There is vegan omega oil if you want to take that, okay? But flaxseed does not replace the job of an omega, okay? So depending on how long that inflammation has been going on and how high it is, you might not see results depending on how critical that is in your body, right? And also on top of that, intestinal, when it comes to intestinal tract inflammation, right? So some people, there was a friend of mine, as she started, started with the coach, and she was having this flare up and this flare up and this flare up and this flare up, right? Because as you start taking care of your insides, it's stirring the pot, right? A lot of issues that are under the surface, then come up to the surface, right? And you have to take care of one thing after the other, and also as your body starts healing itself. So a lot of people, when they start, they might sit on the toilet for a while because you're having a lot of intestinal tract flare up, right? Especially when you incorporate, for example, higher fiber content than you're normally used to, right? And incorporation with a prebiotic. So you're having a fiber, and you're also having increased prebiotics and probably also probiotics that then come in and are that food for your bacteria in your stomach. So now all of a sudden, you're digesting food like crazy, right? And it's moving through your system. And so depending on how well food is moving through your system, then you can increase your dosage of omega-3 depending on your levels of inflammation. For example, if you have high levels of arthritis, or if you have injured your ankle or injured your knee, or you hurt your back or whatever, that is temporary higher levels of inflammation. So then you would, of course, increase your dosage of omega-3, right? When you have too little of omega-3, this is what happens, is that you don't have enough EPA for your body to convert into DHA, okay? DHA is the ingredient in omega-3 for your brain, okay? And EPA is the omega-3 ingredient for your body, okay? Your body cannot convert DHA into EPA, but it can do the other way around. It can convert EPA into DHA, okay? And so when it comes to insulin resistant, that is also because of added stress to your body, right? Either in the form of trauma, right? Emotional trauma, or also physical trauma, okay? And just more added stress and anxiety, you know, to your life, right? That your body has compiled and built up over the years. With a lot of people, you can see that in their abdominal region, right? That means higher levels of cholesterol, okay? Higher levels of cholesterol does come with increased trauma and inflammation. Doesn't matter if it's from stress or stress on your body from food, okay? It all is combined to inflammation, right? And so taking care of, and then when you do become that inflamed and have that much inflammation, that becomes more onset and also has to do with being insulin resistant, okay? So making sure you are on proper levels of omega-3 will help with that, right? I had a client, she wasn't getting any results for a very, very long time, right? So then we had her, I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure she had all the signs and symptoms of insulin resistance, right? So then she goes and talks with the doctor, and the doctor confirmed that yes. So then we cut her down to about 100 grams of carbohydrates a day. And most of that, because she also suspects that she's gluten sensitive, right? So we cut her down to 100 grams of carbs a day. Mainly those carbs are then coming from veggies and fruits. And then the rest, she's going to be operating off of the fat fuel source instead of a carbohydrate fuel source. Her fats are going way up and her carbs are coming down, okay? Not into a keto carbohydrate diet, but just a low carb diet. And this is because she was insulin and gluten sensitive, okay? Another question that came up today was, what sources, I had another client, she was like, what can I eat for a quick, when I'm having a really like a crash throughout the day? And I was just finishing up eating an apple with some caramel, right? And so an apple is a good source of fiber, right? And also though that quick sugar, right? I remember as a teenager, I would go on field trips, and there was one of my friends, she was a diabetic. And so when she would crash, we would give her like fruit juice, you know, a concentrated juice or a fruit, right? And that would spike her back up. So that is quick fuel. That's quick energy for your body. And so, and that is a really good source of energy. And it doesn't matter what type of fruit, right? Because and this goes back to also inflammation, because you want a wide range of vegetables and fruits throughout the day. And also if you're taking a super green and a super red, right, that gives you a very, very wide range of all sorts of nutrients like vitamins and minerals, right? Because we don't want those cravings. It's when we have those cravings and we like are trying to create discipline, we're like, no, we're not going to give in. And then we finally give in and we overindulge. Two things, mainly because you haven't allowed yourself that one sweet thing a day. I'm a person on sweets. I need my one treat a day. I'm like that horse that needs that one carrot a day to keep going, right? But also, so vegetables do allow your body those polyphenols and those beta glucans that you do need for to combat oxidative stress. Okay, we're back to all the elements in our life that create stress on our body. So vegetables and fruits really help provide you with a lot of antioxidants, right? And so having a wide range of fruits as your go-to energy source is a huge pick-me-up. Like after I had I had an apple with some caramel, great source of energy. Like now I've got all the energy in the world. For I got another meeting here in 30 minutes, but I'm going to keep cleaning out the back shed, moving all the things from the backyard up onto the deck. It's going to be so fun to set up a exercising platform in the back with a pool. So there is a new guy on our crew. His name is John Story. And he loves how I explain things, and a few of you others also enjoy how I go into depth and explain a lot of things. I'm, like I said to my crew earlier today, I'm the one in nutrition class asking the teacher all sorts of questions. He's like, Ellie, you don't have to know this for a test. And I'm like, no, but I do. I need to know how the different fats break down and how the different sugars break down and how they're absorbed into your cell with, and what's around your cell, like what portals open up to allow in what. And he's like, this is way too much information for you to know right now. I'm like, no, I need to know this. So I hope with all this information, you can make those conscious decisions, like back to eating whatever fruits you want, giving you a wide range of vitamins and minerals that you need, right? I was told my friend earlier that yes, she can hit her carb intake by drinking sugar, right? But she's not going to get those vitamins and minerals that she needs for all the functions in her body, right? So I originally did schedule this for tomorrow on mistake. So, and then I saw that, oops. So, okay, John Story, he did just jump on. So let me see. Hi, John. Let me see if I can't hear you. If you want, I was just going to finish this recording. Did you have any questions you wanted to put in the chat, or I can bring you on screen if you want to ask any questions?
Is that me?
Yep, I hear you.
Okay.
So I was just finishing a little bit, but go ahead and ask any questions you have. I just finished up a lot when it comes to inflammation in your body, and if you're not getting results, then it goes down to a lot of internal work that has to take place first.
Okay. So it took me a bit. I was in exercising. So.
Oh, so you were able to find some discipline today or some motivation?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you're
the
still
day
there
was a
in
little bit
Utah,
easier.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, those who don't know John is living in Utah. We've known each other for a few years, and he joined the crew today because he's like, Ellie, I like the way you explain things. And so this shop talk kind of went on longer than I had planned, because I do go down those rabbit holes and I kind of explain in depth a lot of things, because when it comes to health, everything is connected. And so it's really hard to talk about one thing without touching on other topics as well. And so John, I think John's not the only one who struggles with this, is that sometimes we're like, oh, I just need to find motivation. And I can say the first thing, guys, that will help you the most is get rid of the fact that you want to run off of motivation. That's like running off of sugar, running off of empty carbs. Okay. I told John earlier today that, and I myself, I look at motivation as that star in Mario Kart. It comes and goes, and you really utilize it when you get it. But the one gear that I run off of is discipline. And here's why. Is because once you do something for so long, it becomes a habit and it's automatic. And you can then leave your brain that critical thinking space for other things that matter more in your life. I remember when I went from working out 7 days a week for my competition, I then went down to 6 days a week. And then now I'm working out 5 days a week, right? That switch was so hard on me because I had been working out every day for so long. It was really, really hard for me to switch to 5 days. I'm like, because I woke up, I reached for my shoes, I reached for my workout clothing, and I even did a reel on it on Instagram if you want to go check it out. But it was really hard for me to break that habit, because it was just discipline that had built a habit for me where I didn't have to rely on motivation.
Yeah, that's I understand that. It's been interesting trying to figure out how to switch that. I'm not really sure about questions. I guess like how do you? I guess one question would be like how do you run it with you? Because I know with Tyler it's different.
Can you say it again? How do I what?
How do you run it with you compared to? I guess because I know with Tyler he does things differently. So
The way I run it with, you mean regarding discipline and motivation?
well, with just being like an advisor and everything in first form.
Okay, so I do use First Form as a platform because I like their app more than I like Trainerize. So that's why I like the setup and the educational topics, because that provides people who don't have the financial backing to do like a one-on-one package with me. They still then have access to the topic of the day, like an educational topic of the day. But those who do, my clients who are like the one-on-one, that pay for one-on-one coaching with me, I give them a lot of information and I educate them on my own and make sure that they have all the information they need to continue on their own.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So the way I run is I put a lot of information in my group here on Facebook, and then I'll link that in my announcements on the app. So you have access to my announcements on the app, of course. And then if